y'all, welcome back to the channel. We are definitely not at home. If you look around, you can see we are traveling and we're going to a surprise destination. So, we'll let you know when we get there. Well, we made it to our destination and come down to visit our daughter and her husband and our grandbaby. But we also wanted to stop. Here's some flags that are hanging for Cherokee Nation. And over here is it's a leather leaf mohania. Aren't those beautiful? And then we have let me turn you, the Trail of Tears, Tommins Park, dedicated December 17th, 1989. And then they have the Trail of Tears Heritage Center also. A beautiful area. As I'm walking here, come across this, and it is the Cherokee, the civilized people. Um, Let me see if I can turn you around. Okay. And there it is. And it's the Cherokee people who once occupied much of the Mid-Atlantic territories of North America. I'm sorry. During the American Revolution, they sided with the French against encroaching settlers and were forced to live in the mountains of Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina. The Cherokees then peacefully traded with the white newcomers, learned their ways, became farmers, and sometimes intermarried with them. Cherokee men used steel and iron axes, build homes of logs and bricks and stones, produce corn, cotton, vegetables, and raise sheep, hogs, and cattle. The Cherokee women cooked in iron pots and copper kettles, spun and wove, and used steel sewing needles for their family's clothing and household needs. By 1800, the Cherokees had their own Christian churches, sawmills, blacksmith shops, grist mills, and schools. In 1821, Sequoias developed a Cherokee alphabet representing all the sounds of the Cherokee language. enabling his people to become the first Indian tribe with their own written language. By 1828, they printed books and published a newspaper, The Phoenix, in both Cherokee and in English. Influenced by the white man's government in Washington, D.C., they established a capital at New Dakota, Georgia, and adopted a written constitution providing for an elected chief, a Supreme Court, a legislature, and a code of laws. The Cherokees were recognized as a nation of civilized farmers when the federal government forced them to leave their lands and move west in the 1830s. And on my dad's side, was where we get our Cherokee heritage. His mother was Cherokee, and his grandmother and great grandmother. So this is really close to my heart. I always wanted to walk the Trail of Tears, at least a little bit. I know I can't do the long walk, but just in memory of my ancestors. And I just thought this was such a beautiful tribute to the Indians, or as they say, Native Americans. But it's just so beautiful out here in the trees. And then Carmen's here with us saying hi. Yeah. And this here is the Cherokee Trail of Tears. Says by the early 1800s, white settlers in present-day Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee wanted the Cherokee farms, especially after the discovery of gold on Cherokee land. In 1830, the U.S. Congress passed the Indian Removal Act. In 1835, 300 Cherokees led by Major Ridge and met with 2 U.S. government agents and without tribal approval signed a removal treaty, which was officially rejected by the chief John Ross and 16,000 Cherokees. President Andrew Jackson nevertheless signed the treaty, which passed the U.S. Senate by 1 vote. Only about 500 Cherokees under the I'm sorry, I can't say that right, and Ridge left peacefully. All others refused to resettle in Indian Territory of present-day Oklahoma. In 1838, General Winfield Scott and his soldiers rounded up over 15,000 Cherokees and herded them into stockades, where hundreds died of malnutrition and a disease. Some were herded onto boats and barges for removal as early as June 1838, but many drowned when their transports capsized. Since the summer drought had made the rivers unsafe for the travel, the remaining 13,000 Cherokees and a few members of other tribes were divided into 13 groups of about 1,000 each under the guidance of a tribal leader. The separate groups journeyed on foot from October 1st, 1838 until March 24th, 1839, through rain and mud, sleet and snow, and across frozen creeks and icy rivers. The route covered 1,200 miles, traveling 10 to 16 miles per day during the exceptionally harsh and cold winter of 1838. With inadequate clothing and little to no shelter, many died of malnutrition, dysentery, and pneumonia, and were buried along the trail as their relatives wept. A few escaped and returned to their North Carolina mountains to join others who had eluded capture. They and their descendants have become known as the Eastern Cherokees. More than 4,000 of the 16,000 Cherokees died during the confinement in March. The survivors of the infamous Trail of Tears and their descendants are today known as the Western Cherokee. I just couldn't imagine. It's heartbreaking. It really is. We're getting ready to go over and see the chief's graves. But first, let's stop here. Excuse me. It says White Path and Fly Smith. Chief White Path served with John Ross on the 6-person management committee for Cherokee removal and subsistence, arranging for ration stops along the Trail of Tears. Cherokee Memorial Park in Hopkinsville, Kentucky was one of the sites. The first party to arrive to Hopkinsville was led by Elijah Hicks and included Chief Whitepath, the famous Cherokee war chief, and Fly Smith. A Cherokee clan leader, the Hicks party had been the second group to leave the Rattlesnake Spring Stockade area on October 4th of 1838, with Whitepath heading the column, but by the time they reached the Cumberland River, they had already passed the first group under John Binge, who had departed on October 1st. Chief Whitepath, a member of the Cherokee National Council, was a full-blood who had resisted the new ways of mixed bloods with their talking papers or treaties. President Andrew Jackson had honored him with a watch for his bravery in 1814, when he, Junaluska, and other Going Snake had led 600 Cherokees in a successful flanking attack against 1,000 barricaded creeks. As a result, General Jackson recorded a great victory in the Shawnee Creek War at the Battle of Horseshoe Bend. Both Fly Smith and the 75-year-old Whitepath had been seriously ill since their group had left Nashville, and they arrived in Hopkinsville on an army wagon. Within several hours, they expired and were buried near the Cherokee camp on Little River. As late as 1930, many unidentified limestone markers indicated that the final resting place of the Cherokees from many groups who passed through during the 1938-1939 winter. Only 4 markers remain today, and including those of Whitepath and Fly Smith. And here we're at the marker of Fly Smith, Cherokee chief. He died in 1938 in the Trail of Tears. There's a plaque that says, in honor of one who endured the forced removal of the Cherokees, the Trail of Tears. And then over here is where Whitepath rests. He was a Cherokee warrior chief. Amazing the things that the Cherokee and other Native Americans had to go through. There's a nice little bench to sit and flowers. Some unmarked markers. And over here, I don't think that we can really. There we go. Looks like they've been broken up over the years. But it's a beautiful memorial site for them. I hope you're enjoying our video today, and if you would, please like and subscribe. This video is a little different than what I normally do. Have you ever been to the Trail of Tears? What was your experience? What was your feelings? I know that with my family history, it's really humbling to come and see that. And here it's showing the trail goes on The trail goes on, but they stand at the end of their journey, shivering in the cold, shaking with sickness that no leader should endure. The trail goes on, but they stand upon this ground, one with head bowed in silent acceptance, leaning on his stick. Sorry, somebody's alarm's going off. The other with hand outstretched, asking the Great Spirit to help him know the reason for the grieving and the suffering of his people. The women and children cry in their camp by the river, stung by the frost ache from the lack of food. They look to their chiefs for answers, and in their eyes see only expressionless despair. The trail goes on, but two chiefs lie here in the stillness, unable now to help their people, throw off the oppression of the white man and his manifest destiny. Their pain lives on in these figures, silent now beneath the sun and the stars. The trail goes on. And that is by Thomas Morris. He wrote that December 17th of 1989. Then we'll go over here, and here's a statue replica. I hope you're getting to see that. It's and plaque here. It says, presented October 4th, 1988 to the people of Kentucky by the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indian and the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma in appreciation of their remembrance of the 150th anniversary of the tragic Trail of Tears, 1938 to 1988.
Mommy?
Hey, you saying hi?
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll go bye-bye here in a few minutes. And then, I'm looking over here, like I said, it's a beautiful little area. But, these Red Chief dogwoods honor the 7 Cherokee clans. And this one honors Wolf. This one honors Blue. And this one over here honors Deer. Paint. This is Birds. And come on over here. This was wild potato. And this one here is in honor of long hair. Aren't those beautiful? And then there's several picnic tables around that people donated. So it's just a touching area. It's so beautiful, and I'm so blessed that my husband surprised me with bringing me today. Okay, sorry about that. We're leaving here now and going to go on to the rest of our trip. So thank you for joining us on this beautiful little site that we came across today. And we'll move on to the next event for today. So we left the Trail of Tears, and I didn't get to mention earlier, we were talking to a Cherokee woman that was a guide, and she was telling us that this new vaccine that they have out, we won't mention names, but you all know what I'm talking about, that they tested that on the Indians in the reservation before they tested it on everyone else. And she also was telling us about how with the new Obamacare that she cannot get care here. She has to go clear to South Carolina just to get care. I thought that was pretty interesting how they still treat Native Americans to this day. So we are here celebrating our granddaughter's 8th birthday. I'm not going to put them on because the parents really don't want them on social media, and that's perfectly fine and safe for me, I think. But I wanted to show you how beautiful the decorations are. Look at this cake. Isn't that beautiful? Get ready to watch your little girl. She went all the way under. Yay! I gotta stop videoing now. We got another friend that's coming in here. She already played with her friend from last night. I wanted you to be able to see this. Well, it is Sunday morning. Hi, Carmen. And we are going to spend the day swimming at this beautiful pool. You'll see Papa Bear standing there. And it has a hot tub, and we're waiting on our daughter and son-in-law and our grandbaby to come join us. And that's what we'll be doing today on our Sunday. And then later on, I'm sure we'll be doing something to get into. We just wanted to share this little vacation with you all.